We start Awani International tonight with a timeline of Trump 2.0 tariff, just to give an overview of how this began and how it compared to the US President's first term back in 2016. President Trump's second term economic doctrine is here. It's bigger, bolder, and riskier. It began on February 1st. A 25% tariff slammed into all goods from Canada and Mexico, though Canada's energy sector caught a softer 10%. China wasn't spared either. A 10% levy returned, but that was just the beginning. By February 10th, steel and aluminium tariffs were back, tougher than ever. Aluminium doubled from 10 to 25%. Steel locked in at 25. Then, a temporary reprieve. On March 6, USMCA allies were granted a 30-day delay. Some automotive and agricultural goods got a pass, but only until April 2nd, the Liberation Day. Now, March 26 delivered another shock. 25% tariffs on all imported cars, trucks, and auto parts. Unless it's made in the US, expect to pay more. Then came the reciprocal tariffs, and it took effect on most imports. But here's the kicker. Countries with big trade surpluses now face tariffs up to 50%. However, a slight breather came April 9th. Tariffs above 10% were paused for 90 days, but the clock is ticking. On July 9th, higher tariffs snapped back into place. Malaysia, for example, avoids a 24% tariff for now. And in a selective carve-out, April 12th brought just some relief. Smartphones, laptops, semiconductors spared from tariffs. It's a nod to tech supply chains and perhaps Silicon Valley politics. Now, we go to the next slide, where in 2018 to 2019, only 425 billion US dollars worth of goods were taxed. Trump 2.0, over 1.6 trillion. That's more than half of all US imports. The scope expanded from 12,600 to 17,600 product categories. Now, this tariff regime is 3.5 times bigger. More sectors, more pain, and global fallout. And Southeast Asia is directly in the crosshairs. ASEAN exports 352.3 billion US dollars worth of goods to the US, and that's over 10% of America's entire import volume. Vietnam, of course, leads with 136.6 billion. Thailand follows with 63.3 billion. Malaysia alone sends 52.5 billion to the US, and Singapore rounds out the top four at 43.2 billion US dollars. But with the reciprocal tariff mechanism, that trade is now vulnerable, especially after July 9th. It's a geopolitical signal that the US is no longer afraid to weaponize access to its market. For ASEAN, the message is clear. Diversify or pay the price. The tariff clock is ticking, and July 9th may even bring a harsher reality.